Welcome in, everybody. This is another episode of Catfish on Ice. This is episode 116 coming to you live here. This is Chad Minton with Rich Howe, your host. We're getting ready to watch the Preds take on the Vegas Golden Knights, these late night games. Rich, they get us every year, don't they?
They sure do, man. 3 in a row so far.
Late night games get us. And I can't imagine how you're feeling. You're in the Eastern time zone. I'm in the Central time zone, so it's even worse for you, Rich.
Farthest away. But you know what? I haven't missed – well, I take that back. I missed the last 6 minutes of the last game against Los Angeles because I turned the TV off. I couldn't take it
I don't blame you for that one.
I feel bad for even staying up as long as I did.
I was running the Catfish on Ice Twitter account, so I had to keep watching it. I took one for the team on that one, Rich. I'm going to need you to run the Catfish account for the next bad game we have.
I can definitely do that.
For sure. Trade off there. All right, let's let everyone know what we got in store for you. Again, this is Catfish on Ice. This is episode 116. Preds and Vegas Golden Knights about to happen. We are going to live react to that game as we dish out episode 116 with you. We are going to open up tonight's episode talking about Roman Josi and his historical season, really put it into context. That's what we're going to try to do, because really what he's doing is something we have not seen from an NHL defenseman really in the last 20 years. Like what he's accomplishing 20, you can even go back 30 years, back to maybe even back to the 80s, go back to like 40 years. Like the point pace he's on for a defenseman is really something we've never seen in decades and decades. So we're really going to break down the numbers. There's a lot of good numbers out there that people are sharing that are really putting everything into perspective. And there's still 20 games left in this season for Roman Josi to build on where he's already at. So that's how we're going to open up the episode tonight for our opening face-off. We're also going to touch on some roster moves that the Preds have made recently, and also some of the injuries they're dealing with. And most of it is involving their defense.
Bad.
Dante Fabro's out. Mark Borowiecki is now week to week. We just found that out.
Yep.
So this defensive lineup is being tested, and that's not what we want to see right now, Rich.
Not at all. This is the worst time of the year to be dealing with that, for sure.
Yeah, it's got me really, really nervous right now. I'm not going to even lie. And then also, we are going to, of course, do our Battle for the Central Power Rankings. We do them every Thursday. We're going to do that. Also, we are going to we're going to talk about some fringe playoff teams now that we're really getting close to the playoff stretch here, and teams are every game feels like it's the most important game on the schedule right now. We're really going to look at these teams who are right on the playoff bubble. And we're going to list a couple teams in the Western Conference who, if they sneak in, nobody's going to want to play them. Like they're one of those teams that they're playing really good hockey. They're right there on the bubble. All they need to do is sneak in, and they're going to be a dangerous team. I got a couple teams I'm going to share. Rich has got a couple teams. We'll see if we agree on that. I don't know what his teams are going to be at. He doesn't know what mine are going to be. We'll see if we agree.
I don't, but I bet there's one that's the same.
All right, we'll see. And then, of course, we are brought to you by DraftKings. So we are going to take a look at some of the top NHL draft odds being offered right now from the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Some of the most interesting odds, Stanley Cup favorites, division favorites, the top goal scorer, who are they favoring there, all that stuff we are going to take a look at as well. I also went ahead, now that the game started, Rich, I'm going to go ahead and tell you, I threw a little money down.
I heard that. I saw you mention that.
I threw a little money down on who will score the first goal tonight between both teams. And these are big payouts because the odds of you picking the right player is like very, very small. So I went ahead and took a very minor bet. It's not a big bet, but it's going to be a decent payout if Eeli Tolvanen scores the first goal for the Preds tonight.
Awesome. I'm glad you didn't pick Tanner Jeannot.
I think he has to be the first goal scorer between both teams. That's how the bet works.
Okay.
Yes, because you can pick from both teams when you do these bets. Wow. But Philip Forsberg had the best odds, of course.
Of course.
Matt Duchene had good odds. Jack Eichel was up there with decent odds. But I scrolled all the way down past like 8 or 9 players, and I took Eeli Tolvanen.
Well, so good luck.
Come on, Tolvi. I need you to win me some money tonight.
I'm glad you didn't pick Tanner Jeannot because he's not playing.
Yeah. And wow. How perfect is it when we live stream these things? Because the Vegas Golden Knights just scored 91 seconds into this game. So, see, this is why I don't take those kind of bets, Rich.
Oh, my gosh.
Wow. And that's a weak goal given up by Saros there.
Very weak. Very weak goal. This is not a good start.
It almost looked like it got deflected a little bit maybe on the way in. It changed directions.
I'm just now seeing the replay, so
it might have grazed off a stick on the way in.
I don't know. I don't think it did. I don't know.
So when you that's why when you make these first goal scorer bets, that you don't have to bet a lot of money to win a lot of money, because your odds of winning that bet are pretty small. But how perfect timing was that?
Wow.
I'm talking about it right then and there, and it happens right in front of my face. It's like, oh, well, that's not going to happen.
No.
So,
no. Fortunately, you didn't make a big bet.
No, I did not.
Yes.
I threw $10 down on it, but I could have won like 200.
That would have been good.
Yeah, but they're still fun though. Throw a little money down.
Definitely.
Throw a little money down, see what happens. I was feeling good about Tolvanen. Maybe he can still score the first goal tonight.
Maybe that'd be
Preds
awesome.
Anyway.
Well,
all right.
I know Vegas got shut out in their last game, so they're probably really not happy. So,
well, it's been a really exciting night for the NHL around the league. Claude Giroux made his debut for the Florida Panthers. He made a really good impact for them as the Panthers beat the Canadians. I just got done watching the Stars take on the Canes.
Yeah, I did too.
That game was just pure insanity.
Did you see how many shots on goal that Carolina had?
47-15, the Stars were outshot by.
That is insane. That is insane.
And they were saved by not Jake Ottinger.
Not Jake Ottinger.
Scott Wedgewood, their NHL trade deadline pickup from the Arizona Coyotes.
Yeah, that dude, he's a superstar right now.
And he stood on his head in that overtime period.
Absolutely did. Yeah. And Carolina, I don't think, did they get any goals in the shootout or just one?
They got no goals in the shootout.
None at all. That's right.
Nope. Scott Wedgewood was picked up from the Dallas Stars for a conditional 4th-round pick. If the Stars end up making the playoffs, it turns into a 3rd-round pick. They've already got Jake Ottinger, and now they've got themselves a goaltender who already in Scott Wedgewood, who already just picked up a huge win for them. He literally carried them to victory tonight. Not good if you're a Preds fan. You don't want to see that.
No, not at all. Predemption says Vegas actually got shut out back-to-back, so they're probably even extra mad.
It only took them 91 seconds to end that.
Yeah.
Against the Preds.
Yes. Yeah, I hate it. All right. Don't like it. That's for sure.
Let's go ahead and start working our way through this episode. This is episode 116, presented by DraftKings, part of the Hockey Podcast Network. Let's start on a more positive note here, and let's talk about Roman Josi. Let's talk about the historical season. Let's try to put it in context the best we can. And so Roman Josi is on pace for 100 points right now. That's literally what he is doing right now. According to Bleacher Report Open Ice, they shared a really cool post today saying Roman Josi is on pace for over 100 points in fewer than 82 games. Norris time for the Preds defenseman. 100%. Haven't we been already talking about that all season, Rich? Where you been, Bleacher Report? Where you been?
I don't know. Oh, now that he's making setting records, having
it's impossible to ignore now.
Multi-point games since what was it, 92, 93 was the last person that did it. So now they're talking about it.
It's impossible to ignore it now.
It's impossible to ignore it. He has scored a point, at least a point in every game in March.
I mean, even if he stumbles down the stretch a little bit, he's still on pace to enter really rare territory. And I kind of went back and did some digging. So I looked back at the list of most points in a single season by an NHL defenseman. And you've got to go all the way back to you got to go back like decades to really find where the territory that Roman Josi is heading into. But just looking back to the year 2000, only 3 defensemen have passed 80, have been 80 or more points in the NHL. 3 defensemen. That is what really puts it into perspective for me. And let's list these defensemen here. Brent Burns was the last one to do it in 2018-19. I remember Brent Burns. He was one of those point getters. He was putting out a lot of assists, much like what Roman Josi is doing this season. Brent Burns was the last defenseman to do that, getting 83 points in 2018-19. The other 2 defensemen to do it was Erik Karlsson for the San Jose Sharks and Nicklas Lindstrom, the great Nicklas Lindstrom for the Detroit Red Wings. Those are the only 3 defensemen to pass 80 points. Newsflash, Roman Josi is already at 78 points, and he's got 20 games to get to 80 and join those 3 players.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know how they decide the voting for the Norris, but
I'm not even thinking about the Norris anymore. I mean, obviously I want him to win the Norris, but I'm thinking more like historical context.
Historical,
here.
That's true.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't seen anything like this in decades. I mean, if anything on this level was happening in the NFL right now, a much bigger, widely watched sport, oh my gosh, it would be an hour-long conversation on SportsCenter every day. Yep. I mean, what Roman Josi is doing right now is just really rare territory for what we're seeing right now.
Yes, I agree. It's amazing. Just like I said a minute ago, he has at least a point in the whole month of March. And I mean, that's just strong. I mean, that's
the all-time record for defensemen is, of course, the great Bobby Orr, who put up, you ready for this? I don't know if you already know this stat or if you haven't memorized. The most points by defensemen in a season was set by Bobby Orr in 1970-71, 139 points.
Wow.
102 assists. 102 assists.
And that was a way different game back then.
I don't think that Roman Josi is going to quite make it that far, but you know what? It's okay.
He's not.
Second place is Paul Coffey in 1985-86 season. He put up 138 points. He came up 1 point shy of tying Bobby Orr's record. That's pretty interesting. And then Bobby Orr's got third place with 135 points. Paul Coffey's got 126 after that. It's basically Bobby Orr and Paul Coffey in the top 10. Yeah, they are the top 10.
Yeah, exactly.
And the top 10 goes all the way down to 103 points. So Roman Josi could actually break into that territory of Bobby Orr and Paul Coffey.
Yes. So that's something to touch upon right there. Like when you see these graphics on the screen and they're mentioning Roman Josi with names like Bobby Orr, the greatest Bruin of all time, possibly, definitely top 5 NHL players of all time for sure. That tells you something right there, man. That, Roman Josi is an elite player in the NHL, and there's just no one can deny that.
Well, I think everyone knows. I don't think there's anyone with a brain that's saying that Roman Josi is an elite.
Yeah.
The problem is I feel like he definitely gets completely underrated by the national scene. But I think people are finally starting to take notice. And, like Cal McCarr is the only player that's standing in his way. And there are some decent arguments to be made to where Cal McCarr does some things better than Roman Josi. But at that point, it all comes down to cherry picking. And that's why sometimes analytics really drives me crazy. I know analytics totally have their place. They can totally boost your argument when you're trying to make a certain argument. There are some really smart people out there who study the game using analytics, and it definitely has a place in the game. But sometimes people already have a narrative, and they're going to cherry pick those analytics. So they're going to think, oh, Roman Josi's overrated. He's not the Norris Trophy winner. Here's why. And they're going to go look through pages and pages of analytics, and they're going to find 3 or 4 stats where Cal McCarr is better than Roman Josi, and they're going to say, see, I told you so. See, Cal McCarr is better here. Like, you can cherry pick any stat. You can. But eye test means something too.
Yeah, and impact on the team is huge as well. I think if you took I can't count. Colorado's really good. If you take Cal McCarr out, that probably would hurt them a lot. But like if you took Roman Josi out, it would be done for them.
I mean, we would be like, I don't even know if they'd play the rest of the season. I think they would just be like, they would just say, pack it in, boys. Let's book our flights to Miami. Let's book our flights to Hawaii. Let's book our flights to Cancun, wherever they go to vacation. Let's go ahead and catch an early flight.
Yeah, just get it over with and stop the insanity, because that's crazy. That would be bad news.
Yeah. So sure. So, but we've known this about Roman Josi for a long time. We haven't known that he was going to do something like this necessarily. But we would have definitely.
Yeah, when the season started, like we've said it before, talking about how our expectations weren't real high, and we knew Roman Josi's always going to have a good season, but never would have thought it would have been this season. So pleasant surprise, that's for sure.
Definitely.
For sure.
All right, so we're watching Preds versus the Golden Knights right now, and it's a 1-0 game right now. The Golden Knights scored in the first 90 seconds of this game. Just one of those goals where, once again, you're seeing the Preds have to come from behind. And I said this earlier today, for whatever reason, I did not feel good about this game at all.
Nope. Especially after the crap fest that was the last game.
Yeah, we're not going to even dwell on that.
Yeah, we're not going to talk about that.
No, we're not.
Brent Dempsey says Philly's up 4-2 in St. Louis. That's good.
We know the Preds have it in them to come back. So much like the last watch along we did on Monday, we know that the Preds can make comebacks, and they can, they did it against Anaheim. That was awesome to see during our watch along on Monday evening. But you just hate to see them keep falling behind. Vegas is decimated with injuries right now. I didn't even realize it, how many injuries they had, until a follower on Twitter, Barry V, who's a friend of the podcast, interact with him a lot. He really knows his hockey. He really brought it up. Like, Vegas is dealing with a lot of injuries right now. And so I looked at their injury report today, and I was like, I knew they were dealing with some injuries. I knew Mark Stone was on IR. I knew they were dealing with some other. I knew Leonard was out for them. But wow, they are missing so much of a core of their team that they're hoping to have to be considered Stanley Cup, contenders. So the Preds really need to take care of business, and because I know they're dealing with injuries too. I know that Dante Fabro is the big one they're missing. I know that Mark Borowiecki's out tonight, but they've, for the most part, for being this point in the season, this deep in the season, they are a pretty at full strength team. Especially they've got all their forwards available, like their prototypical lineup of forwards they have available. No major injuries at all. So they got to take care of business tonight. And with Dallas winning, that puts the pressure on you even more. Minnesota's hanging around, of course. We're basically going back and forth with Minnesota right now to try to get in the top 3. But it's not even about getting in the top 3. It's about the wild card race behind us is still right there on our doorstep as well.
Absolutely. Dallas, with that win tonight, they're only 3 points behind Nashville in the second wild card spot.
And you still can't fully count out Winnipeg either.
No, you cannot. Absolutely not. I think Vegas is the next in line.
They are
under Dallas, and then after that.
But the Pacific Division is also very close, so Vegas could easily jump into the top 3 and knock Edmonton out, if I'm not mistaken. Or no, not Edmonton. You've got in the Pacific, you've got LA, Calgary, and is it Edmonton?
Maybe. Yes, it is. It is. Yep.
We've got this amazing thing called smartphones I can pull up, so I'll just
probably just check it out.
Smartphones, if anyone's heard about them, they can help you look stuff up very quick. Yeah, Edmonton's your third place team right now, but Vegas is just 3 points from. So Vegas is in a very similar position to what the Preds are in right now, honestly. In their respective divisions, they're in very similar positions, like right there as far as getting in the top 3, but they can also easily fall out of the wild card. So this game has so much playoff implications right now.
It does. Absolutely, it does. And if hopefully willing that if something bad happens and Predators don't win tonight, the next 3 games are against not the same caliber of team, lower caliber teams, but that doesn't mean anything. But they definitely would need to probably win 2 or all 3 of those.
I'm going to put this out there right now, Rich, and I hope I'm dead wrong on this, but you're not going to like what I'm about to say. But, Rich, what are you doing on Friday, April 29th?
I'm not sure.
I can go ahead and tell you what you're going to be doing. You're probably going to be sweating bullets.
Oh, yeah.
You're going to be sweating by the buckets. Because that is the last game of the season, and that's when the Preds go on the road to play the Arizona Coyotes. And if I was a betting man and someone made me bet some money right now, I would say that game, the Preds will have to win to make the playoffs.
Yeah, it was kind of exactly what happened last season, wasn't it?
I wouldn't be surprised at all. I would not be surprised at all.
Predemption says there's no excuse at this time of the year that the Preds don't go 3-0 next week. I hope so.
Well, we say that with all due respect. We say that all the time.
Don't manifest that.
That's my parents.
For sure.
All right. Well, if I can throw you something better, maybe they can wrap it up the game before against Colorado on the 28th, the game before that. And maybe by that time, Colorado won't have anything to play for.
Yeah.
I mean, that's actually conceivable.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's conceivable, Rich.
Conceivable.
By that game, the Colorado Avalanche should have nothing to play for, and maybe they'll play a bunch of their scrubs and just let the Preds walk right into the playoffs.
Maybe.
How about that?
That would be awesome.
Right. That's all I got for you. I really think it's going to come down to the last week of the season, though.
Yeah, I do too, unfortunately. Predemption says, Chad, the Preds will have a playoff spot by then. I will make you that, guaranteed.
All right. I hope you're right, Predemption. I hope you're right, and I'm wrong. I love being wrong about this team. But I'm just telling you what I feel about this team. They're just one of those teams that they're gonna give you plenty of really exciting wins. They're gonna beat some really good teams they're not supposed to beat, but then they're gonna turn around and lose to some really bad teams, and that's gonna equal them entering the final week of the season really on that playoff bubble. Dallas, we've been saying it all along. They're coming. They dug themselves a deep hole, but they're not as bad as their record. And look at what they did tonight. Even though I know they didn't play well, but they still figured out a way to win. So they're not going anywhere. I still think Vegas, once they start getting some of their players back, they're going to get a lot of their players back that are out right now. Eventually, Mark Stone's going to come back. They've got a lot of other important players out right now. I'm telling you right now, if Vegas gets in, they're going to be dangerous. And let's kind of talk about that right now, Rich. We said that was going to be a topic tonight, and it's actually a perfect segue. Let's talk about some fringe Western Conference playoff teams or teams that are on the playoff bubble that if they sneak in, then your top teams like Colorado, Calgary, these top teams that we know are going to make it, they're not going to want to play teams like this. Yeah. Rich, how about you give me your teams and then I'll tell you mine.
So is it on the bubble or does that include wild card?
It can be. It's literally teams that are like barely in the playoffs or they're barely out of the playoffs. Awesome. Either way.
Awesome. So my first one is Dallas. Obviously, those guys.
I'm right there with you, man.
They are tough to play against, and we know how tough the Predators always have beaten them, but it's always a close game. It usually goes to a shootout or overtime. Right now, if the Predators aren't careful, they're going to get bumped down to the second wild card spot.
I know.
If they don't do something quick, like something's got to change. They're just not playing great right now. So
I also saw a really interesting stat from the ESPN broadcast tonight in that Stars-Canes game. Remember how last season the Stars missed the playoffs because they had so many overtime losses?
Mm-hmm.
They remember they lost so many times to the Preds in overtime. I mean, we could go back. I could go back and try to look it up how many overtime losses they had, but it was something like insane. They just had so much bad luck last season in overtime. And that was the reason why they missed the playoffs. And this season, they've got the most wins after regulation in the entire league.
Yep.
So they've completely flipped the script from last season to this season. They're actually getting those extra points in overtime this season.
Yep, absolutely.
They had 14 overtime losses last season. 14. And that was in a 56-game season.
Right. Yeah,
mind
I remember
that's crazy. This season, they've only got 3 overtime losses.
Yes. I saw that graphic earlier.
That's a really crazy turnaround for a team when it comes to overtime.
So
yes, I'm right there with you. The Stars are built for the playoffs. They are built for the playoffs. They have veterans who know how to play in those moments. Tyler Seguin, Jamie Benn. They've got guys like that. Alexander Radulov, I know he hasn't had a good season, but he is also there. Ryan Suter, I know we cannot stand Ryan Suter. He knows how to play in the playoffs at least. He's been in this league a long time. And then you've got your young players who are still really good. Jason Robertson, Rupe Hintz. And then they've got the goaltending.
Sure do.
Jake Ottinger is right up there with UC Saros, is one of the really rising, up-and-coming young goaltenders in this league.
Yep. And then apparently the guy, Wedgewood, that they got, he is doing really well. I would probably say he's going to be taking over a backup spot to
oh, yeah, for sure. Braden Holtby.
Who is it? Holtby. Yep, Holtby. I couldn't think of his name. Yeah, man. I mean, they're tough. I'm
telling you, they are one of those teams that if they figured out a way to get in, and they've still got a lot of work to do, they're still kind of on the outside looking in. But if they sneak in, they're one of those teams that could go on a run and make it to the Stanley Cup again. I would not be surprised at all. They would be a very difficult first-round opponent for a team like Calgary or a team like even Colorado.
Yep.
All right, who's your other team? You got one more? It's really team we don't want to face.
I do. It's Vegas. Before we talk about them a little bit, Predemption says Vegas can't dress Max Pacioretty or Mark Stone into the playoffs because of their cap situation. So if they do make it in and get those dudes back, like you said, those guys are,
exactly. That's a really good point. A good point for Predemption. Thank you, Predemption, for watching along with us tonight. Yes. Good point there. Vegas is in a lot of a mess right now with their cap situation. And so they're really having to juggle some things. Mark Stone is on IR. Now there's talks that he's starting to feel better. He's starting to get healthy again. So they're probably trying to figure out how they're going to bring him back. And so they're juggling a lot of different issues right now. Vegas is. So, but they are definitely a team that if they get all their players back and they get things right, they're a team that could still, make some things happen in the playoffs for sure.
And as we're talking about Vegas, they just scored again. Saros is going to want that one back too.
What'd you see on that goal, Rich?
Just they couldn't get the Predators couldn't get the goal, the puck out from in front of Saros, and Vegas took it. And I didn't see who scored the goal, but Saros will want that one back as well because it was something he should have got. So, don't like that.
Vegas already has 14 shots on goal too. So
to 5. Yeah,
this is like a continuation of Tuesday night's game in LA. Like it's like just not going well at all.
What are these guys doing? They not going to bed early enough or something?
All right, so
jet lag. I don't know.
All right, so you say Vegas. I agree with that, but I'm going to go different here. There's another team that's actually okay. We're talking about fringe playoff teams, so teams that could still easily fall out of the playoffs over these last 20 games. The team I'm about to name is currently in the top 3 in their division, but by a nose. They're 3 points from being out of the playoffs altogether, and that is the Edmonton Oilers. A team that is completely underperformed all season. They're much like the Toronto Maple Leafs in the Eastern Conference. The Edmonton Oilers are the butt of a lot of jokes. People love to see them fail because they've got Connor McDavid, the world's best player, arguably, on their team. And so a lot of people like to see them fail, just like a lot of people like to see the Toronto Maple Leafs fail. But I'm telling you, eventually, this team is going to figure it out. They're going to break through. This is Canada's year to win a Stanley Cup. I'm telling you,
it is. Yeah,
strong. Between Toronto and Calgary, and then you still got Edmonton, who I think is going to be a sneaky. Edmonton is a team that going into the season, yeah, of course, everyone's like it's a popular pick to make. Like, oh yeah, Edmonton because they got Leon Draisaitl, they got Connor McDavid. And then they've got the rest of their complement of players. But Edmonton's been a mess with their goaltending. That's the one thing that you can't trust with that team. But I still think that Edmonton will be a tough team to play against if they sneak in. So they're at 75 points right now, but they are just 3 points ahead of Vegas from being out altogether. So they're still very much on that playoff bubble. So you say Vegas. I'm going to go ahead and say Edmonton is a team that if they get in, you need to circle them. I don't care what seed they are. If Edmonton gets the last wild card and has to play Colorado, you want to talk about a first-round playoff series.
Oh, yeah.
Edmonton versus Colorado.
True.
Sign me up for that.
Good one. Yeah, definitely sign me up for that. Oh, Hines called his timeout, looked like. No, that was TV timeout. Never mind.
I was like, he called a timeout in the first period. What is going on?
I'm sorry. I thought it was live. He was giving them the business.
Shots are 14-4. So we've heard plenty of players on the Preds talk about how Hines really will get into them in the locker room. I think Matt Duchene had a comment about that and how the Preds turned it around this season, and how John Hines really does know how to light a fire under this team.
For sure.
He comes off quiet and reserved on the bench, but I mean, in that locker room, he definitely seems like a player that holds players or a coach that holds players accountable.
Yeah. Well, he was definitely giving them the business because he was red-faced, yelling. Yeah, they need something, man. This is ridiculous. Ridiculous.
All right. This is episode 116 of Catfish on Ice with Chad Minton and Rich Howe, brought to you by DraftKings. Of course, you can go use our promo code THPN to sign up for DraftKings Sportsbook app right now. Have a lot of fun. There are so many NHL betting props you can go on, but they cover every sport. But if you're an NHL fan, we're guessing you are. If you're listening to the podcast right now, then you can really have a lot of fun with some of the betting props that DraftKings has right now available. So let's go ahead and talk about some of the current odds that DraftKings has right now in the NHL. And first off, let's talk about the Stanley Cup odds.
Yes.
The Cup favorites. Have you looked at these odds yet, Rich?
I have not.
All right. Well, let me tell you, who would be your guess for the best or the favorite right now, according to DraftKings Sportsbook, when it comes to winning the Cup? That's actually a tough question because there's a few teams you could think about.
Yeah, I would want to say Tampa Bay, but I feel like that's not it. Let's go. I'll go Calgary. Is it Calgary? Is that it?
To win the Cup out of the entire league? No, it's not Calgary. No. Calgary is number 4. Calgary has the fourth best odds right now.
All right. That's still good. Not Calgary. I don't know. You tell me.
It's Colorado.
Colorado. Okay.
Colorado is the favorite right now to win the Stanley Cup, according to the DraftKings Sportsbook app. If you threw down $100 right now on the Colorado Avalanche, you'd bring back $425.
Oh, wow. All right. Oh, we got a Vegas player down.
That's never good. Yeah, when they bring that stretcher out like that, that's always
crap. Yeah, he lost his edge and went into the boards, and then Forsberg kind of lost his edge a little bit and fell on top of him, sort of. So,
damn.
Forsberg was trying to check on him though, so that was cool. I can't see who it is.
Yeah, that's always scary. I'm sure when these types of things happen and the medical professionals get out there, a lot of times they ask the player to not move anything just in case, because you don't want to do further damage if it really is like some type of a serious injury.
Mm-hmm.
So definitely scary. You can see on all the looks on all the players that it's very scary moment. Just never.
Oh, that's cool.
Always bad to see something like this.
Two of the Predators medical team are helping them out too. That's good. That's awesome. I still can't see who it is.
I mean, they're blocking it. Forsberg is definitely, because you said he was involved in the moment there.
Yeah, I can't tell.
As violent and as physical as hockey is, you don't see this happen very often.
You sure don't.
You don't see the stretcher have to go out on the ice very often, and you would expect it to happen a lot more considering how physical of a sport it is and how fast these players are skating and how hard they're hitting. Yeah. But you really do not see this very often.
No.
And we also, I haven't seen which player it is either yet.
I'm not sure.
Vegas.
They're still not showing who it is. Yeah, Forsberg looks pretty upset.
Well, the fact that he was directly involved in it, I mean, is just really hard to even have to think about. I mean,
yeah. Brett Howden
is the player involved.
Sure.
Okay.
I'm not sure who that is.
They're definitely being very cautious in how they approach this, the medical teams, and just really makes you worry even more that they're taking this much precautions. It really does make you really worry that it could be something really serious, that they're taking this much caution to even, lift him right now.
Yeah, for real. For sure.
It's just, it really puts everything into perspective when, these players are, we want to see the team win. We love the hard hits. We love all that stuff, but it is a very, very dangerous sport. So when you see this happen, I mean, it really just.
Yeah, it's.
You really think about this player's family, who I'm sure are really upset right now seeing this. His teammates, of course, everyone involved. Honestly, like it's hard. I mean, because these hockey players they literally put their bodies on the line playing this sport.
Yeah, they're still strapping him down. It looks like. I'm guessing they're not going to show the.
Well, I missed the initial hit. I didn't see it, or what happened.
Yeah, I was glancing at it.
I think
looked like he just kind of fell down. So I don't know.
A lot of times, out of respect for the player, you're not going to show replays of a very catastrophic injury.
Yep.
And that's out of respect to the player.
Yeah.
Because you don't really want to showcase or highlight a scary injury like that,
Right.
And they used to, like, I'm telling you, like, they used to not be nearly as respectful in this.
No,
like, I remember, I can remember watching football games because it happens a lot in football, where players' necks would go snapping back, or a player's leg would get just completely snapped at the ACL, and they would show the slow motion replay like 3 or 4 times, and people would be like, "Stop showing that! Like we don't need to see that. Like that out of respect for the player, out of respect for that player's family, don't make this a spectacle and show endless replays of this player who just took a really scary, injury. They could be like life-threatening." So I really appreciate these TV broadcasts who have learned that when something like this is going on, you don't show the replay.
Yeah. Predemption said Forsberg was going in for a hit in front of the Preds bench. Howden was already falling, so he didn't have his footing. And then Forsberg collided with him, so he wasn't braced properly. Wow.
It's one of those awkward things that can happen in hockey. I mean,
yeah. Forsberg.
Nothing malicious about it.
Forsberg standing right by him. He looks tore up.
And you're seeing the stick taps from both teams, including the Predators. John Hines in the Preds bench is clapping. Everyone in the arena is clapping, obviously out of respect.
Oh, so they got him. They're putting him on. I'm just now seeing them put him on the stretcher.
Wow. You come together in a moment like this, like in the end, it is just a sport. And even it looks like, just really they're taking all the precautions necessary to make sure that this isn't like a serious neck injury.
Yeah, for real.
He's moving his extremities. He's moving his mouth from what I'm seeing, which is just a really awesome sign to see there. I'm sure, hopefully they're just taking all the ultimate precautions and that he's going to be okay and everything's going to be fine. And they just took the precautions. Yeah,
he's awake. That's good. And he's moving his hands. So, man, that's tough.
Yep.
That's very tough.
Just
great to see that.
All right. Yeah, so all right, I guess they are going to show it now. And that's just a really it's a really just awkward collision at the boards right there. I don't think that nothing malicious out of this from Forsberg. Like Redemption said, the player was already kind of going down. Forsberg was skating in after the puck in pursuit and kind of stumbled into him, fell into him.
Oh boy, that's rough.
Yeah. And I can see why Forsberg is really upset over this because he was directly involved in it, even if it wasn't malicious.
Yeah,
so,
and as soon as it happened, I'm sure you just saw it on the replay. Forsberg immediately went over to check on him or whatever. So,
and Forsberg's not a dirty player. I mean, he's not.
No,
but
definitely not.
A very unfortunate, just awkward collision that can happen sometimes at the boards.
That's crazy.
So Brett Howden, 23-year-old center for the Vegas Golden Knights. He's got 9 goals, 11 assists on the season. A good player, good young player for Vegas. We hope you get better soon.
Yeah, man,
we're happy to see that nothing serious happened. Scary stuff there, but it seems to be that you're hopefully going to be okay. But scary stuff.
For sure.
All right. So they're back underway here. They're back underway here in the first period. Preds and Golden Knights. Golden Knights are up 2-0. Coming up on the 3-minute mark left in the first period. All right, Rich, let's talk about some roster moves and some injuries that the Preds are dealing with right now. First, let's talk with the Preds' big roster move that's really I found interesting and a little sombering. Maybe that's the word I can use here. Fleet Myers, that big trade acquisition from the Ryan Ellis trade, has been loaned to another team.
The Toronto Marlies.
Yes. The Preds were like, you know what? We'll loan him to you.
Yep. And I did see that someone had said that was the future considerations for getting that Biega guy from Toronto, but Adam Vingan said it was not. It's just a loan or whatever. So,
and honestly, the loan thing kind of confuses me sometimes. Like, what are the Preds getting in return for the loan? You know, like,
I'm not sure.
There's got to be something that
I don't know.
Like you know what I'm trying to say?
It. I do. They wouldn't just do it.
You wouldn't just loan a player for nothing. So, but be that as it may, it really makes you go back and think about the Ryan Ellis trade. And I'm gonna go ahead and say it right now. I don't care what really happens with Fleet Myers. I still think that moving on from Ryan Ellis was a good thing, dumping his cap. I mean, he's played 4 games this season for the Philadelphia Flyers. And as much as I've appreciated and loved Ryan Ellis's career with the Nashville Predators and all the great things he did for the Nashville Predators, I don't think he's ever going to return even to half of what he was with the Preds in his heyday. So you would have loved to have gotten a player who's actually contributing right now out of that, because you've also got Cody Glass, who was immediately sent down to the minors.
3 or 4 games.
And he's having a great year for Milwaukee. Like, he's really found his niche down there and he's doing well. But you got to, you can't help but think, is Cody Glass going to be a career AHL player, or will he eventually make that difficult jump? That'll be a really good preseason storyline for next season, watching Cody Glass and seeing if he can make this roster and to see if he's a part of this team next year on a regular basis. But that Ryan Ellis trade, the return's not looking too great.
It's not. If you look at it half glass full, you got rid of his salary, and that's pretty much all you got out of it, which that's good, but you really wish you could have gotten a player that could make an impact more than the guys.
And maybe, who knows? We don't have a crystal ball here. Maybe down the road, Cody Glass and Fleet Myers both end up making an impact on this everyday NHL roster. I would put my money on Cody Glass over Fleet Myers if you're asking me between the two. I know Fleet Myers has done some decent things. I'm not saying he's been a complete, just massive failure, but I mean, they protected him in the expansion draft, Rich.
That's huge. That's a big point for sure.
And I mean, we said it at the time when we did our expansion draft episode at the time, and we didn't even know a ton about Fleet Myers at that point. We said, well, you kind of have to protect him because you just traded for him.
Right. Yeah.
So it's like, so I get why they protected him, but again, it's looking really strange. Ooh, how did that not end up being a goal for the Preds? What happened here? You're going to see this on your replay, Rich. That looked like for sure that was going to trickle in.
Come on,
you got Roman Josi at the point. Roman Josi looked for a deflection goal off of McCarron. The net comes off. Let's see. Cousins found Josi for a nice feed. Josi fed it in looking for a pinball style goal, and Thompson for the goaltender for Vegas smothers it.
He just laid on it. Covered it up.
I like what I'm seeing though. That was a good shift there from the Preds.
Yeah.
That was a good shift. That's what you got to do. You got to get building blocks here. You got to get building blocks. You still got 2/3 of this game left. So it's don't let this turn into the LA Kings game. That's all I'm saying.
Absolutely. Oh gosh. Forget about that game.
I was thinking, did I really stay up late for this? That's what I was thinking the whole time.
So I know we said we weren't going to talk about it, but as soon as they pulled Riddick and then they scored the empty netter, I turned the TV off. I was like,
I don't blame you.
I'm not watching this anymore.
I don't blame you at all.
Yeah, I was like, forget it. I was like, there's no way possible. So,
all right, let's go back to our DraftKings odds here. Our odds that they've got set. So the Cup favorite is the Colorado Avalanche. You throw down $100 right now, you can win $425 if they win the Stanley Cup. I feel like that's a pretty good bet there, honestly. But Florida, the Florida Panthers, got slightly less odds, but they're at plus 550, so you could bring back 550 on a $100 bet.
Hmm.
So
what if you put down a $2 bet?
You're making me do math now.
I'm going to be.
So you go by tens. So like you do a $10 bet, you bring back $55. $2 bet's not going to bring you back a lot of money, Rich.
All right. Well, I'm going to be honest with you here.
Rich, if you throw down $2 on the Panthers to win the Stanley Cup right now, and they win the Stanley Cup, you might win. You'll win enough money to buy you dinner at Chili's.
Like $10.
Why are you asking me to do math right now?
I don't know. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm gonna be 100% straight up with you. I don't understand how betting works.
So
I don't get it. I never have gotten it. So I don't get it.
So in your future, in your future betting, in your future odds, so that's like when you're predicting like who's going to win the Stanley Cup, and you get to pick from every team.
Right.
Then they're all going to be pluses because the odds are very, very low. So the payouts are going to be higher. So plus 425 means that you bet $100, you're going to win $425. So anything that's plus, anything is plus is what you're going to win based on a $100 bet. Now you can say, so you do the math by tens. So if on that same bet, since it's plus 425, you could bet $10 and you'll win $42.50. So you got to do the math by. That's why when you throw the $2 bet at me, I'm not good enough at math to calculate that.
Well, I'll do it in tens from now on.
it's all based off percentages, but the DraftKings app does it for you. So you type in $2, then it's going to automatically give you the the win. But I can promise you right now, if that's as low as you're going to bet on the Florida Panthers to win, then you're betting that you can win yourself a dinner at Chili's or I don't know what restaurants you got up there, but Chili's was the first restaurant.
We have everything you have for the most part.
All right. So you'll win yourself
for all the cool places.
You'll either win yourself a dinner at Chili's or a heck load of Taco Bell. How about that?
Oh, now you're talking.
You can have yourself a heyday at Taco Bell if you throw down $2 on the Panthers and they win the Stanley Cup
for a month at Taco Bell.
Yeah, there you go. If that's your end game, Rich, then go to town. Throw $2 on the Florida Panthers.
Well, I'm hoping soon that I will be able to use that feature on DraftKings, but I'm not able to yet because of the state I live in. But I can do the fantasy betting, and I have done that.
And that's fun too. And that's fun.
That is fun.
Tampa Bay is third right now in Cup favorites. They are at plus 800. So you win $800 if you throw a $100 bet down on them. Let's talk about where the Preds are according to DraftKings. They are plus 4,500.
Wow.
So if you place a $100 bet right now on the Preds to win the Stanley Cup and they win the Stanley Cup, you win $4,500.
Love it.
You can throw down $10, Rich, and you can bring back $450. Don't make me do the math on a $2 bet. Don't you make me do it, Rich.
I said I'll do tens from now on. I'll do
it. Do tens. It's easier. It's easier to do it that way off the top of your head.
That's cool. Yeah, I can do that.
Now, whenever you see minus, Rich, so if a team is minus, if a team is a minus 100, that means that it's a favorite to win. That means the odds are in your favor, so you got to put down more money to win more money. You got to risk more money.
Yeah.
Because the odds are more in your favor.
Yes.
So if a team is minus 100 to do something, you've got to bet $100 just to win 100.
Yep. Because they're in your favor.
Yeah, it's just lower odds. Yeah. So that's kind of how it works.
Like the Hunger Games.
Exactly.
Yeah, the odds always be in your favor.
So let's look at conference winners here for the Western Conference. Again, Colorado is the favorite. They're at plus 165. So that would not be a wise bet because you're not going to really win anything. You're only going to win. I mean, you're going to win a little bit of money, but it's not a great bet. I would take a bigger chance and think about a team like Calgary. Absolutely. If you're going to bet on conference winners right now, they're plus 400. Vegas is plus 650, which I would not bet that, but they are a bigger payout if you want to go that route. The Preds are plus 2,000. So, yeah, if you want to bet on the Preds to win the Western Conference and somehow catch This is for playoffs, by the way. So in the playoffs,
Right.
winning the conference, you can throw money on the Preds to win the conference, and you'd win $2,000 on a $100 bet.
There you go.
This is all the more reason right here to get the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Looking through these odds here.
Yep. It's really easy.
If I'm looking through the conference winners, and if I was going to make a bet on these teams, Calgary is a very enticing bet to make right there.
That's probably
they're
one
at
I
plus.
would do as well.
They're at plus 400, so
yeah,
that's pretty good.
I think out of all the
you've got Minnesota at plus 1,000, so you could win $1,000 on a $100 bet if you throw some money on Minnesota if you think they can just get hot in the playoffs. So some interesting selections there for conference winners. Let's look at to make the playoffs. They've got Dallas right now at plus 290 to not make the playoffs. They are actually DraftKings seems to think that they got a good chance to actually make the playoffs.
Yeah.
So there's your odds on that.
So do I.
The odds for top goal scorer in the league right now for DraftKings Sportsbook app has Austin Matthews as the favorite. He is also the league leader in goals right now with 46 goals going into tonight's action. You've got Leon Draisaitl just 4 goals behind. Austin Matthews at 42 goals. You could throw $100 down on Leon Draisaitl to take over Austin Matthews, and you would win $400. So
I don't see that happening. But
so yeah, what we're saying is go get the DraftKings Sportsbook app.
Yep.
And lots of things there's a lot of good odds out there for sure. We're brought to you by DraftKings. We also threw out a poll question right now.
Yep.
Hope you guys saw it, everybody. So one thing about this Preds season, and I think everyone knows this, there has been no shortage of storylines this season, Rich. I mean, just take your pick. Records are falling left and right. You've got rookies out there doing great things like Tanner Jeannot. You've got UC Saros. You've got the team playing better than what people thought. I mean, there's so many things going on this season. You've got Philip Forsberg in the contract negotiations and what he's going to do. He's already broke the single season goal record and the career franchise goal record for the Preds this season, which has been a storyline. So we threw out the poll question, and I was really interested to see what our listeners would think. We're going to leave this poll question running into tomorrow, so we'll update this final poll results in the next episode. But here's where we're at right now. So we asked, what has been the most interesting storyline of the Preds season so far? And our options were Forsberg contract talks, Josi's historical pace, Tanner Jeannot for the Calder Trophy, or Duchesne's resurgence of a season. Well, and right now it's really, really close vote, like kind of all over the place. But leading the way is Josi's historical pace with 30% of the vote.
That's not what I voted for, but
you've got Philip Forsberg contract talks is 28%. Duchesne's resurgence is 25%, and Jeannot for Calder is 18%. So it's a very, very close vote right now on our poll question.
Yep. I voted for the Forsberg talks. I know that has probably been the dominant thing that we've talked about.
Yes, it has been.
The most.
The Roman Josi thing, I mean, we've talked about Roman Josi, but as far as realizing really what he's accomplishing, that's really come up in the last couple of weeks.
Yeah. We've been talking about it since, what, December probably?
But the pace he's actually on, though, is really ramped up recently, and that's really gotten us talking about it on a national level.
For sure.
Of course, we've talked about Tanner Jeannot and Matt Duchene all season, too, and what they're doing in their respective seasons. So it's a really tough question, honestly, to pick between the two. I voted for Roman Josi.
Yeah. Yeah, it would have been that one if I hadn't voted for the Forsberg one. But I feel like, a lot of people – there's a lot of chatter about the contract thing. Maybe it'll die down now that that Poyle has kind of told people to chill out a little bit.
Britt on Twitter says all of the above. So she just said I'm voting for all of them, which is totally fair. Ray Perkin, who has been on the podcast before. Yep. What's up, Ray? He comments and says, Duchesne is the most interesting to me because I've been rooting for it for a couple of years and even kind of predicted it last year. I seem to remember him talking about Matt Duchesne on our show. I'm pretty sure Ray Perkin came on the show before the season started. We were kind of talking about what we thought was going to happen. And I remember him. I'll go back and listen to the archives, but I remember Ray Perkin actually talking about how he thought Matt Duchesne was actually playing much better than what a lot of people were giving him credit for.
For sure.
And the points just weren't falling for him. He just was a little bit snake bitten, almost like what we've seen with Eeli Tolvanen this season. And he looks correct in that regard. So Matt Duchesne's resurgence is what Ray Perkins says. So keep voting on that poll. Share it with your friends at Catfish Ice on Twitter. Let us know what you think about that poll question.
Absolutely. Fun stuff.
We're still in the first intermission as the Preds trail 2-0. They just have not been able to figure it out.
Not the time for that to be happening. That's for sure. I don't like it.
I don't like it either, man. It's one of those things where they've got to just avoid. This is the worst time of the season right now to hit a cold stretch. It really is. This can change the entire outlook of the season and really undo all the great things you've done if they fall flat right now.
Yep. I was just thinking about it while I was watching the Carolina game, wondering what it would be like to have, even you think about Colorado, what would it be like to have that much of a pad to where you could probably lose every game the rest of the season almost and it not bother you 100 at all? What would that be like? That would be amazing.
I will say the 2017-18 season when the Preds won the President's Trophy.
Yeah.
Things were feeling pretty comfortable, but I remember fans, at least me personally, I still didn't want to see them lose because I wanted them to win the President's Trophy because I thought that'd be cool.
Yeah, for sure.
And I wanted them to win the division.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it doesn't happen very often for these Preds teams. Most of the time, they're always right there on that playoff bubble and trying to sneak in most of the time.
Yep. Colorado is 16 points up on St. Louis.
Well, think about the entire Eastern Conference right now, Rich. Pretty much the entire Eastern Conference playoff field is set.
Yeah. Yeah.
You've got a 13-point cushion in the Eastern Conference playoff race right now between the wild card and the next teams, the next closest teams.
Yeah. That's insane.
So right now in the Eastern Conference, they're just playing for playoff seeding. They're not they're not worried about falling out of the playoffs. Whereas the Western Conference is you could go to being in the top 3 to being out of the playoffs after a 2-game losing streak, 3-game losing streak, you're out. Close.
I don't pay much attention to the Eastern Conference.
Well, look at it, man. Look at it.
I am right now.
The teams are set, man.
They are set. Yeah. I don't see Columbus making up a
13-point difference.
No, I don't see that.
And when you look at the Eastern Conference, it is. It's going to be a bloodbath in the playoffs.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because you're looking at your bottom wild card team in the Eastern Conference right now is the Washington Capitals.
Mm-hmm.
You can't tell me that the Washington Capitals aren't a Stanley Cup contending team. They can absolutely win the Stanley Cup, and they are the second wild card team right now in the Eastern Conference.
Definitely.
Their playoff field is absolutely stacked. Washington, Boston, New York Rangers, Pittsburgh Penguins, Carolina Hurricanes, Tampa Bay Lightning, Toronto Maple Leafs, and Florida Panthers. Mm-hmm. Every single one of those teams would probably be favored against the Predators in a playoff series.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely. Unfortunately.
I'm just saying, the Eastern Conference is completely stacked right now.
Yeah. Yep.
I would be completely surprised if the Eastern Conference does not win the Stanley Cup this year, one of their teams.
It wouldn't surprise me either.
I know Colorado's great. I know Colorado's good, but Colorado is kind of like the only team in the Western Conference that I would give a chance of winning the Cup. Maybe Calgary, maybe. But I'm telling you, I feel like the Cup's coming out of the Eastern Conference this year.
Yeah. The second place team in the Western Conference is St. Louis with 79 points. And the second wild card spot in the Eastern Conference is Washington with 80. So it's like, it's crazy to look at it that way.
Man. It is crazy.
Yeah.
All right.
It is.
Episode 116 of Catfish on Ice presented by DraftKings. Go get the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use promo code THPN for exclusive offers. The NHL season has been packed with dirty dangles, hat tricks, and big wins as the action rolls on. The DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL, has your shot to win big too. And you can really, really have a lot of fun with it. We just got done giving you some of the odds that the DraftKings Sportsbook app has right now for you. Talked about some of them in the NHL. And so all you got to do now is download the DraftKings Sportsbook app, use promo code THPN, bet just $1 on any NHL team, and get $150 in free bets if they win. That's promo code THPN at the DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL. 21 and up restrictions apply. Please see our show notes for details for responsible gambling practices. And also, if you need to call for gambling help, if you have a gambling problem.
Yep.
And if you're in a state like Kentucky and you don't have the Sportsbook app available, you can still have a lot of fun with the daily fantasy sports app.
Yep. You can do anything that's going on. NASCAR,
all right, Rich.
Hockey, basketball, all of it.
How about you update everyone on our cold hard picks from Monday's episode?
Let's do that.
Did I do any better? Did I finally get a win? I got one? I got a win?
You did.
Fine.
So you had Canes over the Lightning, and that happened.
Wow.
That happened. But then you took Coyotes over the Kraken. That did not happen. And then you took Flyers over the Red Wings, right? Wasn't that the one you did? Or was it the opposite?
Yep.
Okay. Yep. That did not happen. Yep. So I picked Capitals over the Blues. That definitely did not happen. Stars over the Oilers. I did get that one.
I got to give you a pat on the back for that one. That was a really good pick by you.
Yep. And then Golden Knights over the Jets. I thought for sure they'd come back after getting beat by Winnipeg, but that did not happen. So I got one and you got one. So we're sitting at, you've got one win and I've got 3.
I'm 1-5 and you are 3-3.
3 and 5, right? I don't know. Yeah. You've got one win and I've got 3.
Yeah. We make 3 picks a week. We make 3 picks a week. We've made 6 picks so far. You're 3-3 and I'm 1-5.
That's it. Yes, that's correct.
You're batting 500. I'm batting whatever. We're doing too much math in this show.
I can't do math. I'm not good at math.
Yeah,
so
let's not do that. All right.
Forget the math. So we'll have this again next week.
All right. Yeah, I'll try to do better. Like I'm not doing well with these cold hard picks at all. Like
crap shit.
Why did I come up with this? Like this segment's not working out in my favor at all.
It's good. I like it.
All right, let's do our power rankings. Let's do our battle for the Central Power Rankings. Let's see where we've got the division shaping up right now. Let's see where we decided to put the Preds. Let me start off with my rankings. And the Coyotes, they done ticked me off. They lost for me against the Kraken this past week. They totally messed up my pick. I tried to show faith in them, and they totally blew it up in my face. So as punishment, the Coyotes go back to number 8 on my list.
Yeah, I put them back at number 8 because they have 3 straight losses. They were doing so well.
Mine's personal.
It is, I know.
They couldn't even beat the Seattle Kraken, which neither can the Preds apparently. But you know what? The Coyotes are number 8. I hope you enjoyed your glory of being at number 7 for a couple weeks, but your time is over. You're back to the basement. You're back in number 8.
Yeah. Especially a depleted Seattle Kraken team.
And the Coyotes, they decided to not be complete sellers at the trade deadline. They still kept Jacob Chikrin, and they also kept Phil Kessel. They just couldn't find any offers for them, I guess. So they didn't completely sell off the team.
They were never going to get rid of Chikrin for what they were asking.
But they did deal off Wedgewood, Scott Wedgewood, to the Stars, who just went completely
nuts,
bonkers tonight and made like 47 saves to push the Stars to victory.
He's like, let me out of that place. Please get me out of there. And
yeah. So good for him. Good for Wedgewood. That's a good upgrade for him.
Absolutely.
He might be playing playoff hockey after all this season now. But yeah, so we both have the Coyotes back at number 8, which means that definitely the Blackhawks aren't moving up. They're not going anywhere. Yep. They're number 7.
Yep.
I'm not even aware that the Blackhawks are even playing hockey anymore this season. Like, I don't hear anything about them. I love it. That's the way I want it, actually. I don't want to hear anything about the Blackhawks. I don't care. Yeah. I don't need to see any highlights of them. I don't need to see NBC Sports Network, which doesn't even exist anymore. We don't have to put up with them gushing over the Blackhawks anymore.
Yeah, it's bad. So bad. They did have an 8-3 win over Anaheim, and they did beat Edmonton. I did look at that. So
all right, well, first of all, Anaheim, everyone's beating Anaheim these days. I mean, they've completely sold off. I'll give them Edmonton. That's a decent win. But, yeah, I don't need to even talk about the Blackhawks. They're number 7. They're irrelevant. I like it when the Blackhawks are irrelevant, and they're irrelevant. And that's where they need to stay. Right, that's where they need to stay.
What's it going to take for them, for you to, like not like them, but, like, tolerate them?
There's nothing that can happen. Rich.
Nothing at all. If they got rid of Patrick Kane, and
no, it's not. It's literally the team itself. I do not like their fan. I mean, it's not that I don't like their fans.
That's true.
There's good fans in every fan base. It's not a sweeping thing, but I just don't like a lot of the interactions I've had. Like, I mean, they're just they think that they're like just one of the better franchises of all time, and they're really not. Like, they've been around a long time, and yes, they've won some cups. I would hope if you've been around since the 1920s that you would win some Stanley Cups.
Yeah, they're definitely going on 100 years. So,
like, let's ask in 2050 if the Preds have won some cups. If they haven't won a cup in 2050, then yeah, you can start talking some crap about Stanley Cups.
I mean, they do ride that we're an original 6 team thing pretty hard. So
that's why it's just
cool. I do like that aspect of it. But yeah, I agree.
That's why it's so refreshing to me to see them go back down to reality, because they weren't any good for a long time in like the 90s and 2000s, early 2000s. They were not a good team. They were they were like a perennial bad team.
Yep.
So I mean, it's like, come on now.
Yeah.
And they also ruined one of my favorite songs, the Fratellis. I mean, they ruined that song for me. Chelsea Dagger used to be one of my favorite songs.
Yeah.
And it will never be the same for me ever again. So it's personal for me. Like, you can call it irrational all you want, but I just don't like the Blackhawks.
I agree.
All right. Number 6 gets a little bit more difficult though.
5 and 6, very hard.
Because Winnipeg's really starting to show us something here.
Yep.
And
is that who you have in 6?
I don't know. Like, honestly, I've been battling with it. Like, but
same.
Number 6 through number 3 in the Central Division right now. I mean, honestly, you can really like make an argument right now.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm gonna still keep Winnipeg at number 6 for now.
That's where I have them. They got,
but they're close. Wins. Like, I mean, they're close.
Very close. So they got 2 wins and 1 loss since we talked last week, and they shut out Vegas.
Well, that doesn't make the Preds look very good right now, but
No. Speaking of which, Carrier's in the penalty box.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, and the Vegas Golden Knights just made it a 3-goal lead on the power play. Rich, you might want to shield your eyes on this one because Saros is one of those moments where Saros is doing everything he can, and there's just nothing he can do. I mean, he makes the initial saves, but they're just the Preds are just like skating around, can't get the puck. They're not battling to the net. They're not getting loose pucks. They look asleep at the wheel.
Mm-hmm. Oh, look, it's the guy who almost got traded to Anaheim. That's awesome.
Well, Lauzon looked out of position. Jeremy Lauzon looked out of position. Don't even get me started on Ben Harper right now. This is just a mess. It's a train wreck. And I said this earlier today. I said I do not feel good about this game. And I should have made this my Catfish cold hard pick of the week.
Oh, that would be funny.
But I'm just like, what are we doing here? Like, I did not feel good about it at all, and it's really confirming my beliefs right now because they look just completely a mess. Saros just Saros just went horizontal to make a save. Wait till you see this, Rich. He literally went horizontal in the air.
I
want to see your reaction to this. You're catching up right now on the stream.
Yeah.
Saros went sideways in the air.
Oh, wow.
Holy crap. That's the type of play where a goaltender can get hurt.
Yeah, it is. He shouldn't be doing that.
Well, okay, so you talked about how Roman Josi, if we lose him, the season's over.
Oh, yeah.
With all due respect to David Riddick and with all due respect to our friend Lindsay, if Josi Saros is out for the rest of the season,
done.
Pack it in.
Yeah. Definitely.
But yeah, you don't like seeing Josi Saros take a dive like that because that can easily end in an injury.
You think you could jump up in the air on ice skates?
No, he's definitely got some athleticism there. Well, I knew he had athleticism, but I didn't know he had it like that.
Oh man, this game is killing me.
Vegas is in the penalty. Vegas is in the penalty box. It would be a really good time for the Preds to get one back. There's still 16 minutes left in the second period. So, I mean, you've seen comebacks happen before, but it'd be really nice to score a power play goal here.
Yep. All right.
Let's go on with our power rankings. We both got Winnipeg at number 6. I've got the Preds at number 5, and that's even before watching this debacle.
Yeah. Well, I left Dallas at 5, but after watching this debacle,
I think you want to do a
flip them around.
I think you would like to do an edit on that, wouldn't you?
I would. Yeah. Especially when I read my notes. So Dallas, they have 3 wins and 1 loss since last week. So I don't know.
All right. Hey, you're stuck with it. All right.
I know. Yeah, it's
you got Dallas at number 5. You got the Preds at number 4. I've got the Preds at number 5 because I feel like for the first time in a long time, I feel like the Preds are trending backwards.
Definitely. Oh yeah, big time.
You know, for a big portion of the season, they were trending up. Even in some of their losses, they were still showing some good things. But I mean, they're going in reverse right now at the worst possible time.
This is the 5th period in a row of showing me nothing.
And even in the Anaheim win, even in the win against Anaheim on Monday, I wasn't that impressed by it.
Yeah, right.
And we're kind of losing sight of what this team's doing because of what Roman Josi's doing, because of what Philip Forsberg's doing. The Preds do get a power play goal here. We just spoke it into existence, and I'm pretty sure Roman Josi just got himself another point.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Roman Josi sets up Philip Forsberg.
That's good. Start digging out of that hole, boys.
So I almost said Roman Forsberg. I'm not even going to lie.
Well,
so Philip Forsberg just gets his 36th goal of the season, and Roman Josi is now at 79 points, 1 point away from breaking 80. So we might lose tonight, but at least our big guns keep tallying goals and points.
Yep. They just, That's a good goal. It's pretty.
So I just gave. So if there's anyone with the last name Forsberg out there and they're getting ready to groom a hockey player, go ahead and name him Roman, because I almost said Roman Forsberg.
There you go. You can name it.
That's actually a really cool name.
When you have a child, you could name, if it's a boy, you could name him Roman Forsberg Minton.
I wouldn't do that to that poor child.
Or Philip Roman.
I wouldn't do that to that poor child.
Roman Phil, or how about Roman Luca Spiza Minton.
I'm telling you right now, though, if there is anyone with the last name Forsberg and their kid's about to be a hockey player, name them Roman, and that's
goal scored by Roman Forsberg, assisted by Philip Josi.
There you go. Yeah, Philip Josi. That's not as cool as Roman Forsberg.
Perfect.
Though.
It's perfect.
I like Roman Forsberg. That's pretty badass. I like that. That is
pretty good.
I mean, you're going to get all the offers from all the hockey schools and all the minor league teams if your name's Roman Forsberg.
Yep. And now the Predators are back in the penalty.
Hey, when Philip has a son and gets into hockey, just name him Roman.
There you go. That'd be awesome.
All right.
They'll probably name him George, because that's his best friend. George Kittle.
George Forsberg.
George Kittle Forsberg.
All right, Philip, take those suggestions from us. All right, Roman or George.
You can tell that we've had a long week, both of us, because we're kind of loopy right now. We're like, Roman Forsberg.
All right, so let's go back to our power rankings. I've got the Dallas Stars at number 3, Rich.
Wow.
I've got the Minnesota Wild at number 4.
Okay.
I've been high on the Dallas Stars for a while.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they've been playing really well. I have St. Louis at number 3 because they lost. But then I moved Minnesota up.
I'm getting confused here. All right, so you've got Winnipeg 6, Dallas 5,
yep,
Nashville 4.
Because I should have flipped those actually, but I didn't.
But Nashville's 4.
Yep.
St. Louis is 3 and Minnesota's 2 for you?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's because of last week. It's not. Yeah, it's because of what they did during the week.
But I go off. It's a running season.
Oh, well, I was only doing it a week at a time, but
we'll have to redo the Battle for the Central rules next season.
Yeah, I guess so. I'm not doing it right, apparently.
No, hey, there's no right or wrong answers here, Rich.
Here's something.
Rich, just be honest. Just be honest. You want to put the Arizona Coyotes at number 1. Just be honest with everybody. Be true to yourself. Be true to yourself if you want to do it.
I'm going to
get number 1.
I'm going to get season tickets and go watch them in that 5,000 seat.
Yeah, do it.
Hockey barn they're going to play in.
I'm sure the concession stands will be great.
It'll be awesome. Minnesota, here's what I'm saying. So they had 3 big wins. They outscored their opponents 10 goals to 3. That's strong. Good. That's very strong. So then Colorado's obviously number 1. So
yeah. All right. I've got St. Louis at number 2. I can't move them out of number 2 at all. Ben Harper, by the way, let's sneak back into what's going on in this game. Ben Harper just took a stupid penalty.
Oh,
idiotic.
So that means they got a 5-on-3 for a minute?
Like 4 seconds.
4 seconds, okay.
But Ben Harper just took an absolutely dumb penalty.
Probably wishing we had Philip Myers in right now.
And to get even better, Jeremy Lazan is heading down the tunnel limping. So very likely the Preds are about to be down to 5 defensemen for the rest of the game. And Ben Harper just took a penalty.
Oh,
Lazan took a really tough block.
That is.
I mean, he took it right to the center of his body.
I'm catching up.
You gotta hope
Harper. Cross-check him right in the back. You're like a 8-foot tall giant.
You really got to hope that Jeremy Lazan doesn't miss a long. He took I'm hoping that that's just like a stinger and he won't miss any time from that. But
that looks like it hurt.
That was not a good. I'm telling you, the Preds. All right, so the Preds are probably wishing they didn't send Philippe Myers over to the Toronto Marlies right now because they're like running out of defensemen.
Yeah.
Mark Borowiecki is on week to week. Matt Benning's out right now.
Yep. As long as Ben Harper's in the lineup, the Preds already have 5D in a game. Now with Lazon, the Preds are playing with 4.
Oh, that's true. Gosh. They're going to have to call Jeremy Davies back up. They're going to have to get Jeremy Davies back in.
They're going to have to do something. Something's just.
I say get Jeremy Davies back in there immediately. Like, not in this game, obviously, because he's not available, but, like, he needs to be called up.
Yeah. Oh, I agree. I think so, too.
How did Saros make that save? I'm telling you, Saros is the only reason this is 3-1 right now. He is well, now it's 4-1. Jack Eichel scores.
Of course he does.
I mean, what can he do? There's nothing UC Saros can do. There's absolutely nothing he can do.
I'm just still catching up.
All right. That's our power rankings, by the way, everybody. I have the Preds at number 4, but I really want to put them at number 5, but I really want to put them at number 6
I want to move
really
them
how
up
they're
too.
playing. I mean,
I want to move them as well. That's just ugly.
This is who's up next on the schedule, Rich?
I don't know, like Buffalo
Ottawa
or Philadelphia.
It's Philadelphia.
All right. And then like Buffalo and then Ottawa. But
let's get ready. About those either. Let's get ready to round out episode 116 on some positive here, Rich.
Let's do that.
The fun things that we saw on the interwebs from this past week.
Yep.
Let me go ahead and pull up.
We scour the internet for videos of dogs doing funny things and just
all the good things.
Anything that's just funny.
We really need to end the episode on a good note tonight.
Yeah, because this is not
good. The first one I have, so we're all pizza fans here, right? Everybody loves pizza, right?
I saw this one. This was funny.
And so this one is from God, I can't even pronounce this name. Do you want to try to pronounce that one?
What is it? I don't even see it.
I can't pronounce it. It's I'm not going to even try to pronounce that. All right. Anyway, I'm sure everyone saw this. So someone orders a pizza and it's a create your own pizza, which, like everyone likes to create their own pizza, add all your own toppings to it and all this good stuff. So the tweet says, apparently when you order a create your own pizza from Casey's, you have to tell them to put cheese on it, cheese and sauce on it. So it's basically a crust, a burnt pizza crust with what looks like ham on it.
I think that's ham. And that's
so it. It's a ham and crust pizza.
You know what's funny about it, though? Somebody ate a piece of it because there's a piece missing.
I mean, if you've been waiting so long for your pizza to get delivered, you might have been so hungry that you're like, screw it, I'm eating it.
I don't know.
That's pretty funny there.
That's pretty bad. And I'm not going to try to say that name either. I can't pronounce it. Sorry.
I'm going to say it's Plius Fargo.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And then it's at like Cater Teflon or something. I don't know.
All right, let's go to the next one. This one is all over.
Oh, is this
This is all over. If you missed this, if you missed this, then I don't know where you've been. You've just not been on social media, which I don't blame you either for not being on social media.
I've seen this.
But this is crazy. So if anyone saw the tornado that happened in Texas and you saw this red truck get completely flipped over, and I mean, it looks like a scene out of the Twister movie. Like you're just waiting for Helen Hunt. You're waiting for Helen Hunt to come running out. Like for all the people who've seen the Twister movie, like seriously, like, and there's a red truck in the Twister movie.
There is.
That's the truck they drive in the Twister movie is a red truck, if I'm not mistaken. It's been a while since I've seen this movie, but I'm pretty sure they drive a red truck. And so it literally looks like you're watching the Twister movie. And this guy just drives on his merry way.
Yep. It flips like upside down. And Telling you, it's actually a Chevy truck. They should
And
definitely.
I also saw a story that Chevy bought this person a new truck.
They should.
It was a college kid. It was a 16-year-old college kid driving home from an interview at Whataburger.
Oh man, that's awesome.
Which is, makes the story even more perfect because Texas is like known for Whataburger. So the kid's like driving home from an interview. We hope he gets the job after that. Like they better hire him after that.
Oh, somebody needs to hire him. Chevy should hire him.
Exactly. And but he just keeps driving, like doesn't lose his cool after that. And so Chevy apparently got him a brand new truck. So I'm sorry, but that wins the internet for the week for me because
that was good.
And obviously you're really just thankful that the kid's okay, of course, because that was a scary situation. Sure. But
for sure.
Also, I don't know if you saw also as part of that video, I don't know if it was the same tornado or not. I'm thinking it was, but there was a video that someone took from inside a Walmart while this tornado is going by. And again, it looks like a scene from the Twister movie. And there's all this debris flying everywhere. This guy's like yelling, like, everybody running in. You see like a van go flying by in this parking lot. And the guy's like, oh my gosh, like a van just flew. Like this guy's like just yelling. And this guy is your boy, James Watson. All right. So he tweets this video out. And then, you know how whenever you get these really good videos, news stations will tweet at the video saying, can we have permission to use the video? So they tweet this guy on Twitter that's called your boy James. That's the name of this guy on Twitter.
Your boy.
And so they ask him if he can use his video, and he responds, "Credit me as your boy James Watson." And guess what the news station did? They credited his video on their newscast as your boy James Watson.
I bet that was great. That's awesome. I will tell you though, I do not like going to Walmart. I think I would just take my chances outside rather than go in Walmart.
The Walmart greeters aren't doing it for you, Rich?
It's just the whole place. I just don't.
Yeah, I don't enjoy it. I see what you're saying. Well, it's just chaos. Like, just everyone's everywhere.
It is usually chaos. I try to go early in the morning when there's nobody there if I have to go.
Which is like never. There's always the Walmart by my house. It doesn't matter what time of day it is. You're parking like a mile away to get in it.
Ours usually isn't too bad in the morning, but man, you hit it up Friday night. It's like, all right. It's like crazy. So
I've got one more to close out episode 116 on a really funny note. Really get us in some good positive vibes here going into the weekend as we watch our beloved Nashville Predators completely look horrible again for the second game in a row. But this is going to end us on a positive note, everybody. I am a dog person. I know most of us are dog people. We love dogs. And this really true. This really made me think about what my dogs wonder about me when I'm gone all the time. So I've always wondered, like whenever I'm gone all day and the dogs are in the house all day, you've always wondered what do they think their humans are doing all day? Like, do they just do they just wonder like they're going out to some strange world that they've never been in, and they're just like, where did my human go? You know, like
I don't know.
And that's why this one was so funny. So someone tweeted out a really funny meme here, and to put it into context, you've got a house, and it's got like a porch, and it's got this big bed sheet hanging from the front porch, and it says "Welcome home, cheater." I don't know the context behind.
I got a pretty good idea.
I'm guessing someone did something wrong in their relationship, but either way, the meme is what makes it funny, because in the meme it says, "My dog whenever I come home smelling like another dog."
Welcome home, cheater.
And I can't tell you how many times I've gone to a friend's house that had dogs, and I come back smelling like that dog. And as soon as I walk through the front door, my two dogs like just hound me. Like they won't leave me alone for like 30 minutes. They're just like constantly sniffing me and following me everywhere. So that's like the perfect meme right there.
I read somewhere that when you leave, dogs think you're leaving forever. They don't know in their brain that you're going to return. That's why they're so happy to see you when you get home.
That makes me really sad, Rich.
I don't know if that's true or not, but I thought I read that somewhere. But it is late,
okay.
and I'm tired, so it could be
okay. Well, Rich, I really hope that's not true because that makes me really sad, and I'm not going to want to leave for work tomorrow because I'm going to be thinking about that.
I know. Yeah, I mean,
I also
when we back out of the driveway, my dog sits and looks out the window by our door, like, where are you going? Please come back. Like, that's what she does.
I have to say that I also read somewhere, and I don't know where I read this, but I've always kind of understood that dogs don't really have a concept for time. So like whether you're gone for a week or whether you're gone for like 12 hours, it really does, like, you're gone either way. And so they're kind of like whether you're gone, when you're gone type of thing. So
yeah, right. Stupid seals. As I'm walking out the door, as you say that, I'm walking back inside.
I know, it makes you sad.
It might not be true. I don't know. I thought I read it somewhere.
But
you can't trust what you read on the internet.
Have you ever seen those videos, Rich, of the military soldiers who come home after a long stay overseas, and then the dogs, like, instantly, like, you could be gone for 2 years and the dog still knows. Yeah. So that I think you're right in the sense that they probably don't know when you're coming back, but I also think that they don't have a concept for time. But either way, let's just think about the positive.
Super happy. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. You knew how to end this episode kind of sad, Rich. You kind of stole our.
I was just forget it. It was probably not right. Just forget it.
Yeah. He read that on some gossip page.
I read it
it's
on
not
the
true.
internet. I read it on the internet.
Yeah.
You can't.
He read it on the interwebs. All right. He read
it was it was some like Chicago Blackhawks blog or something.
Yeah, they don't know what they're talking about on the Chicago Blackhawks blogs. Yeah, it's not true. They know you're coming back. The dogs know you love them. All right. That's been episode 116 of Catfish on Ice. We're trying to send you out with some positivity going into the weekend. Let's hope the Preds can somehow make a comeback. It's not looking good, but we will continue to follow the game for the rest of the night, or at least I will, and we will kind of update it as we go. We will see you next week for a brand new episode. Until then, we really appreciate everyone joining us for episode 116 of Catfish on Ice, presented by DraftKings, part of the Hockey Podcast Network with Chad Minton and Rich Howe. We hope you all have a great weekend. We can't wait to see you next week for a brand new episode.
Yep. Have a good one.
See ya.